welcome to my first game review of 2018! And, seeing as I got a Switch for Christmas, it seemed fitting to kick off the new year with my first review of a Switch exclusive, namely, Super Mario Odyssey.
It's time to jump up in the air, jump up, don't be scared, jump up and your cares will soar away.
While I didn't keep my eye on every little bit of information prior to release like some other gamers, the odd trailer or two I saw did look really fun. It received perfect scores from critics and players alike, but what's my take on the latest entry in Nintendo's premier franchise? Now, I usually start by explaining the plot, but today I thought I'd let you guess what it is. I'll give you a few options. Is it A, the Mario Brothers actually do some plumbing, B, Peach gets kidnapped, or C, Mario has to collect and deliver Coors beer across the country in 48 hours whilst trying to outrun the police? Well, if you guessed B, then whoop-de-doo, it was pretty damn obvious. The game even begins with Peach pre-kidnapped by Bowser, who intends to marry her. Mario tries to save the day but fails right off the bat. But, ever determined, he sets off to save her. Again. This time, he's joined by a magic hat called Cappy, whose sister was also kidnapped by Bowser. The pair explore numerous kingdoms via a ship known as the Odyssey as they go on what is essentially a wild goose chase after Bowser. The story is, well, it's Mario. It was never going to be a compelling and thought-provoking masterpiece. It's just a backdrop for the gameplay, and it's fine. I will say this though, Nintendo really dragged out the ending. Yeah, the game only took me 5 hours to beat, but I thought I was about to finish it 4 times during the final 2 worlds. It doesn't ruin the game, but it does get a little tiresome. But is the story and the game in general presented well? Yeah! The graphics are nice and colourful with character designs that are filled with personality and charm, though I personally found it distracting to see cartoony Mario next to these more realistic and detailed designs. The Mario series has had some of the best video game music of all time, and here, whilst it's not all memorable save for a few tracks, it does at least fit each world. Then there's that goddamn catchy song that Pauline sings. I thought it was cringy in the trailer, but it grew on me mainly thanks to it being stuck in my head. It's also the backdrop for a hell of a level, one which had me smiling throughout. Speaking of which, the gameplay is always the forefront of every Mario game, so how is it here? It's certainly consistent, as you'll be doing the same thing in each world. Once you arrive, you immediately set out to collect enough power moons to fuel the Odyssey. There's 900 of these. What? Well, they're not all mandatory, and there's plenty scattered over each world, which are, in similar fashion to Mario 64, somewhat big areas for you to explore. It was a cool style to return to, and the stages are well designed and nice to look at. As for the moons, the high number of them means that there's plenty of filler, but there's also some really creative ideas here that made some of them lots of fun to collect, particularly when they involve Cappy. There are no power-ups in the game, but if you throw your trusty hat at a certain enemy or object, you can take control of them, and plenty of imaginative possibilities are opened up, which are lots of fun to control, but even Mario on his own is enjoyable to play as. Not as satisfying as some people made it out to be, but I did enjoy rolling about and leaping through the air. The bosses are also fun, which follow the same free hit rule that's been in most Mario games, but some of them are very imaginative and enjoyable to defeat, even though they're not that hard. Actually, the whole game isn't that challenging. I did die a few times, but it often felt a bit cheap, like the game was screwing me over rather than that there was something there to master, like in Galaxy 2. It's not too big an issue, but it's a little annoying. Okay, so that's kind of it when it comes to the gameplay. It sounds like an average enjoyable Mario title. But people went nuts for this game, so what makes it so fantastic for many gamers? Honestly, I don't know. Now don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun with this game, but I didn't love it as much as some people seem to, and I'm not entirely sure what all the fuss is about. Some have said it reinvented the franchise, but aside from Cappy, it's more of a blend of previous entries in the series, and while it's done very well, it didn't quite enchant me like it did for so many others. But why is that? Well, I've mentioned before in a previous review that for me, there needs to be more to a game than just fun gameplay for it to truly stick out. Something like Galaxy 2 had a grand, massive scale and sense of adventure. and while I have no issue with the quick and easy to get moods in Odyssey, the former had imaginative levels rather than just creative ways to get the collectible like in the latter. But there's nothing wrong with a game that's simply fun, and Super Mario Odyssey is most definitely that. It's just with the level of acclaim the game received, I was expecting something a little better, but what I got was still a title I had plenty of fun with, and there's plenty of great little ideas here that I really enjoyed seeing. If you have yet to get a Switch and you're in the market for one, I'd personally pick Breath of the Wild to be your first game, but this is a really good one to add to that collection, and I'll score it 85%. My best analogy to describe the whole game is that it feels like each Nintendo developer wrote down an idea and it became a part of the experience. There's a whole bag of treats to discover, some of them okay, others plenty of fun, and I had a good time tucking in.